So these yellow signs are an absolute waste of money, and they're an absolute waste of council time and funds. And the reason for that is because 90% of you that are out there in vans will be able to park under those yellow signs. And so in this little Fireside Friday, we want to talk about why you're able to park in front of those yellow signs.
Like we did.
Like we did. Now, a little disclaimer, if you get fined, it's not our fault.
No, it's
Don't
not.
blame us. You do this at your own discretion.
We're not advocating it. We're not advocating
We're
it.
not at all.
We're just saying we did it.
We
broke
did
the rules,
it,
didn't
but we're
we?
not advocating it, even though they're a complete, utter waste of time and they don't make any sense whatsoever. So the reason that we were able to park under that sign, as you saw in Tuesday's vlog, is because Romany is not a motor caravan. She's a van. On the DVLA, it either says registered as a motor caravan or it'll say registered as a van or something like that. So she's not, is she?
She's
Which is
not.
good for us because it means that sign doesn't technically legally apply to us. And there's other reasons as well that we're going to talk about in this vlog where you could essentially, there's certain laws and rules that seem to override that sign, so we're going to get into that as well. But she's not a motor caravan.
She's not a motor caravan. So we touched on this a bit on Tuesday, didn't we? So if you hadn't seen, on Tuesday's vlog, we parked underneath one of these signs and we broke the rules. We never break the rules.
You broke the rules.
So-
I didn't
well,
break the
yeah,
rules.
I broke the
I were in a
rules.
car. It were you.
Reese
that
were in a
breaking the
car
rules.
freezing himself. I were in van. But
Naughty.
I were all right after a little bit. I kind of felt a little bit like you do when you park up in a lay-by first time. You know, I felt really nervous, but then after a bit I were all right because it were just dog walkers that were turning up every 5 minutes walking past vans, so it were fine. So go back and watch Tuesdays if you haven't watched that, because it's quite funny actually, and when we were watching it back it was quite funny when we were editing. But yeah, we touched on it on there. Why is Romany not a motor caravan? I hate that. Apparently that's just a wording. You looked up, it's a wording that the DVLA use or the government uses something. It's usually you hear motorhome and campervan, don't you? But motor caravan just made
Just
no
the
sense
language
to me.
that they use,
But
basically.
I think it's just a language to cover everything. Anyway, if you've ever converted a van yourself, you may have tried to get it converted to being a camper van or a motorhome type thing through the DVLA. And there's loads and loads of rules which you've got to tick off one at a time to be able to do that, isn't there? Such as having a fixed bed in place that's 6 foot in length or whatever, and having a table that's, you know, collapsible or permanent. And there's loads of different things you've got to do to meet it. And the outside of your vehicle also has to look like it's a camper van. It's got to be spotted by the police, for example, if you're in a queue of traffic, that you are a camper van.
Yeah, well, think motorhome. It says it needs to have like decals on
Yeah.
it or something that symbolises that it's a motorhome, basically.
And if you've ever
looking
tried to
vehicle.
do that, you'll know how hard that actually is, because there's loads of people that go on your kind of van life Facebook groups that'll show pictures of the van that's covered in decals all the way up it, of like mountains and stuff, and they say no, it's not good enough, it's not recognisable
It's actually
enough.
quite hard to get it classed as a motor caravan.
very hard, yeah.
It's quite difficult because there's other things as well, isn't there? Like, for example, Romany is a medium height roof, and to be classed as a motor caravan, motorhome, whatever the classing it
We'll
as.
call it camper van
Call
from
it
now
camper
on.
van. I
It's
can't
easier.
keep saying that. It's like, it's got to be a high roof. It's got to be a high roof. You've got to have a 6 foot bed, and you've got to have a fixed table.
Yeah, or a collapsible table. But there's all these rules that you've got to have, and basically they changed the rules. It were around, I don't know for certain exactly when it were around COVID time when they changed it, and they made it so that you can no longer convert a van into being an actual camper van with the DVLA. Like Reese says, if you don't have a high roof, you have to have a high roof.
And that doesn't include pop tops either, because
No,
everyone.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that. They also changed it with that as well. So you used to be able to do a pop top one, which would be classed, and you can't do that anymore.
Can't do that
So
anymore.
there's certain things that you're no longer even allowed to try to classify them as a camper van. So Romany cannot be classed as a camper van. So on her V5 logbook, she is a panel van.
So
and
when
there's
you-
nothing we can do about
No,
that.
but that then turns out to be good. I mean, there's pros to having it classed. which
Yeah,
we talk
cheaper
about.
insurance, the big
Cheaper
one.
insurance is another one. That's a pro. That's a good pro for it. But when we rock up at those yellow signs, technically, it doesn't apply to us because she's not a motor caravan. So the council have basically gone up, putting these signs in Scarborough, Whitby, Lytham St Anne's, where we shot Tuesday's video, and they're coming up. Now, normally when you sort of think of no overnight parking signs, you think of the blue sign that says no overnight parking, and that's an all-inclusive sign. It includes everybody, bless its heart. You know, so that's cars, lorries, motorbikes, tractors, whatever vehicle you want to turn up in and sleep there, you can't. However, when they've put up the no motor caravan sign that says 6 till 8, I think Scarborough's is 11 till 7, and we're going to touch on the differences with Scarborough in a second. But when we rock up at those, it doesn't apply to us. We might as well be a car. And so those, and again, this information, just use it as you want. Many of you know this already because you've been putting it in the comments. But if you're new to van life, and you're worried about that, then it's handy to know. And now we wouldn't necessarily do that. We only did that obviously because we were doing a video on it.
We can't be bothered getting in an argument.
There's thousands of places across the UK where you can park up, so we won't be doing that anyway. But in an emergency, and what's technically right, which is what this conversation's about, technically, because it doesn't say that on the vehicle, you can turn up there. Now, there's some discrepancy and some kind of debate as to whether these traffic wardens that come round in the little fluorescent jackets would fine you. They probably would, and this is where you've got to be a little bit like make your own decision, because they're apparently not trained to recognise the differences between the official kind of campervan, van, motorhome and motor caravan. Like, they don't know the differences. So when they come round, they're likely to just issue you a ticket. So it might be a good idea to have a printout if you are going to do it, so you can show them, I'm not a motor caravan, I'm a van. The Scarborough one is a bit different.
Yeah.
Now, the Scarborough one says that you'll be fined, I think, £70, and I think that's what, we don't know much about this because we don't usually bother much with these signs. Basically, from my understanding, they have to reveal how much you're going to get fined.
Yeah, so
Is that right? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right with that. And we've had a very similar situation come up. You've probably seen it all over social media, only maybe about 6 months ago, I think it was, with the clean air zone thing. So there was a guy that's quite well known on kind of social media that had taken the clean air zone stuff to court, basically, and he won in court, but the judge in that situation did not apply it to all the clean air zone areas, just to his specific case. But obviously that set a precedent for future. So what that case were about is that when you drive into certain towns and cities and things like that, and it says clean air zone, and then you get fined, don't you, unless you pay your 10 quid or whatever it is that you've got to pay to get in, and you've got a diesel van or whatever, unless you pay your money online, you get this fine, don't you, of about, I think it's about 60 quid, something like that. But apparently, because they don't display the amount that you're going to be charged, so when you see the sign that says you are now entering a clean air zone and what have you, you know from what you've heard online or whatever that you've got to log on and you've got to pay and stuff. But it doesn't tell you that if you don't do that, you will be fined this amount of money. And because of that, this guy has won in court to get all of his fines for his business, because he runs a business, all of his fines back, basically, and he's had them all wiped. So he's not paid any fines, all the debt's been wiped, and he hasn't been charged anything for entering into the city centre where he has a business. And that now means that other people can potentially go on, use that precedent that's been set, and claim any money back that they've paid for this £10 charge, or whatever, £20. I think some of them are like 40, 50 quid to get into a town or a city. So that's the same principle as what you're talking about, where because it hasn't displayed the amount of money that you would be charged on some of the signs, therefore you could argue
Scarborough does,
yeah.
I think. Now, Scarborough has cameras as well, so they just issue you the fine through the post. Now, Hell on Earth, if you've seen their channel, they rocked up at Scarborough. Check out their channel. They've done what we've done in a limo. It's epic. But they rocked up at Scarborough and they didn't know about the signs and they went for it anyway. And somebody came and put the sign on their window. However, it is common, I think, in Scarborough on Royal Albert Drive from just to issue you it through the post.
But Lytham St Anne's, there's no price stated that you'd be charged. So I think you could argue that. And you got fined. And
somebody said, because we've been parking in Lytham St Anne's for years, as we said on Tuesday's video. Now, somebody said in the comments on Tuesday's video that it is some kind of multi-millionaire solicitor guy that has taken offence, don't like campervans basically, that's kind of got behind the council to put this up. Whether that's right or not,
we don't know.
But that's apparently what's
We
happened.
were
because
told when we were there.
with the
though,
locals, have
by a
always been
local
lovely.
that it
those.
were, one of the locals had said it had been like all over Facebook about local people being upset about it. So
Heartbroken.
whether it is more local people than just, but from what we had, that local person that messaged us said, no, you'd be more than welcome. Like, we don't have an issue with it. It's just one person.
And another
I don't
thing,
know how true that is. But
another thing as well that somebody mentioned from that comment section, which I thought were really good, is the law of not driving when you're tired, or if you have some kind of disability and you don't feel well enough to drive that vehicle, then that overrides anything. Otherwise, obviously, the council will be liable. So if they come and say, can you move, please? And you say, I can't because I've got a disability and I physically don't feel able to drive this vehicle safely right now, they can't really do anything, apparently, about that. And likewise, if you're tired, you know, we're going to talk a lot about being tired and pulling over in future vlogs, because that's another little bugbear of mine. Motorway services and stuff like that.
Tired, pull over, but it'll
charge you
if you want to
15
stay
quid.
more than an hour or 2
That's
hours,
clever.
it'll cost you 15 quid.
But yeah, so if you say to them, I'm too tired to drive this vehicle, then they have to put your safety first. Health and safety comes first. And so, yeah, that's another thing that we're not usually that bothered about these signs. And we said on Tuesday, the reason we're so bothered about these signs is because it's not an all-inclusive sign. Like, it's definitely 100% singling out van life as campervans, because when they put that sign up, they're not really, well, they should be knowledgeable, shouldn't they? But they're not knowledgeable about that most of us are registered as vans. So they've logged it as motor caravans. But I've forgotten what
Normally
we're going to say
we
then.
can't be bothered with this sort
Yeah,
of
that's
thing
what I was
because
saying, wasn't it?
normally it's just too much stress and hassle, and we'd rather not be bothered with it.
But when when it feels
yeah.
like discrimination, it's like somebody has to stand up and go, no,
And
hang
there's
on a minute,
certain words,
that's not right.
That's one other thing that it just gets under my skin with stuff like that, where we have to say that it feels like this, it feels like that, because we're not allowed to use that terminology unless we can prove it. And, you know, I would say it is proved, you know, but we're not allowed to say it.
We have to say it. Whenever you hear us say it feels like
this. And that's so frustrating because, you know...
because it is, isn't it? Like,
and it seems to just be one sector of society, which is people who travel in some way or another. It seems to be that those people, it's still acceptable to say you're not allowed in here, you're not allowed in there. You know, years and years and years and years ago, we used to have signs up all over the place that said certain sectors of people were not allowed to go in pubs, or were not allowed to frequent shops, or lots of...
And there'd be uproar about that,
yeah,
rightly
not allowed
so,
to use public
these
transport,
days.
and all sorts of horrible things like that.
But not when it comes to people who travel in vans.
And people who are travelling, there doesn't seem to be that same thing where we say this isn't okay, why we're doing this. It seems to just be okay to say, no, you're not allowed to do X, Y and Z, and you're not allowed to come here, you're not allowed to do that. And it frustrates me because it isn't, like Reese says, we don't want them to put up don't sleep here signs.
No, we don't want the blue signs.
We don't want the blue signs either.
But we're not bothered because there's that many places to park up.
It does bother us in the fact that, you know, when they're putting these signs up where they're saying you can't even park there. That's the thing as well. It's not even about you
leave your
sleeping
vehicle
in it.
there.
You can't even park it up.
Don't
So
get me
if me
started.
and Reese had paid to stay in an Airbnb or something, or a booking.com place or whatever, if we'd have done something like that, we would not be able. We'd have to park miles away because you can't even pay for parking.
Where are my custard creams, Emma? Because I'm going to need one in a minute.
I know, you're so frustrated with it, aren't you?
Proper stressed out.
I think the thing is about this vlog is we're just trying to...
They're stressing me out, Emma. These fluorescent people wandering about, they're proper stressing me out. And any council members watching, please comment, because I'd love to have a conversation with you over a brew and a custard cream.
Do you know what I think half the time,
I'd
though?
love
These
that.
people doing their jobs, they don't agree with it either.
No,
They're
they
just
probably
following
don't,
orders.
but then don't do that job.
But haven't we said in years gone by also, want that an excuse for lots of other things, that we were just following orders?
Yeah, we were just doing our
job. And we
job.
shouldn't be just doing our job, should we? Because we're meant to question what is right,
Absolutely.
what is wrong, what's moral, what's
But
immoral.
I would love, the council are not going to watch this video, which is really unfortunate, because I would love for them to realise that, because don't forget, if they put it in 3 places, they'll have planned it for more, and they will have already paid for that to be done.
Yeah.
And they will have already paid for these signs.
Or somebody else that's unhappy about it's paid for it.
Yellow signs to go up, and I'd love them to watch this video and realise that they've wasted all that money, all that time, on all them resources, because it's the wrong colour, it doesn't apply to us. It doesn't. Those yellow signs, technically, make your own mind up, don't apply to 90% of van lifers.
Please
so
remember
what's the
as
point
well,
in putting them up? They're
please
wasting the
remember
time.
as well when this is happening, this is your money. This
Your
is
money
your money.
and
This is
yours.
your money, our money, but it's
Daisy's
your money,
money.
that is paying for these signs. It's your money that is paying for people to go around and issue tickets. It's your money that is paying for the admin for all of that process as well, because it's not just the
And it's
person going
awful,
around
that.
issuing the ticket. It's people in offices that have to post things out and everything else.
And as
You
well,
know,
Emma,
that's your money that's paying for that.
It
And is
is.
that where you want it to be spent?
well, I was just going to say our roads are atrocious, right, compared to France and Spain, which we're going to show.
You can literally go
over
caving in
yeah,
our roads
you,
these
you
days.
can literally, there was a video on YouTube Shorts the other day, somebody pretending to fish.
Yeah.
One,
And pothole.
in a pothole.
Going in
They had a
and
fishing
go
rod.
potholing, you know, like that.
But
She makes me laugh there.
like how much more could that money be spent in this country? You know, we showed that in a few towns we've been to recently.
Yep.
Like, get that money put into those towns, you know, instead of these yellow signs that now we've realised don't even apply to us. Like, go put them up because, you know, it's not right. But if you're a council member watching this, go ahead and put them up because it's the wrong sign.
Do you know what will happen as well is that people will
So,
start to stand up against
yeah,
this.
and that's what's happening
They
with
will.
us.
They will start, because we are the last people to do that.
We
And
would a year ago.
But people
we
will
would never
start.
have done this. We
No.
were always saying, and we always still saying, we still say this, that van life is easy in the UK.
move on, find somewhere else.
There's
Save
hundreds,
yourself
thousands
the
of
hassle.
places. However, we always said from word go that if ever the time came for us to stand up to it, if ever we felt like, yes, now's the time, we would do it. And that's what you're seeing in
Yeah.
a few of these vlogs that we're doing now, is now's the time to go, no, that is not okay. And to stand, I'm ranting again now.
Because of the fact that it feels like discrimination.
discrimination.
Basically what is happening is we're having people in the powers that be making decisions to exclude certain groups of people. Not
i.e.
just
us.
from sleeping overnight, but from even parking in certain places. And bear in mind as well that you might have a vehicle that is a disability vehicle that is also has a bed in the back and is classed as, you know, somewhere where, so that
you can
person with a
rest.
disability can
Yeah.
rest and lay
You're
down.
too
When we
tired.
got Romany was that.
Romany
had
used to be a disability
wheelchair
vehicle.
access from the back with a wheelchair lift. And had a bed in it so that the person that was in the wheelchair could get some rest if they wanted to.
Absolutely.
So you have to consider those things as well.
You can't just
It's-
go for...
These powers that be are excluding a group of people. And when we are not inclusive, then that, to me, in my opinion, is discrimination. And I would argue that every single person, every council member that makes these decisions, every parking enforcement person that goes out and issues these tickets, every person that's responsible for putting up these signs will all have sat online doing an online course or a face-to-face course about inclusion, not discriminating against people, about
not worked
equality and
very well, has it?
diversity, and they will have done all that training. So if you've done all that training, how can you do that training and then continue to do what you're doing? Because it is not right, in my opinion, and you should be questioning. Otherwise, people being put on them courses is again a waste of your money that you're paying for.
Even people on the comments, right? There were a couple of comments on Tuesday's video that still, even after that video, still blamed. Not blamed, let me say this properly. So they were pointing out the fact that the reason these no motor caravan signs have gone up, which their intention is obviously to ban all campervans and vans and choose what you technically classed as, that's their intention. And they were saying that the reason they've gone up is because the locals are upset with vans littering, using the surrounding area as toilets, things like that. And so I said on a couple of these comments, you know, but cars do that as well. Like,
People walking do that.
People walking
Unless
do
you're
that.
going to ban the next time
Let's
you
ban
see
cars.
somebody.
That's what I think, anyway.
If you're walking into town and you see somebody drop litter, which I see all the time.
You don't
that
ban
happens,
everybody.
You don't ban them from walking into the town centre or
The
using
minute
the public
this
footpaths.
is is the comparison, right? The minute anybody gets upset with cars chucking McDonald's wrappers out of or any
other
fast
food restaurant.
food out of the window, we need to ban all cars. The minute somebody drops a cigarette butt on the floor, or they drop a can of cola or whatever on the floor, we need to ban all people. You can't do that.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
It wouldn't make sense.
Make sense.
And I'm being a bit pedantic
no,
there.
but we did because it is right. We talked about that in Scarborough, where you used to have the, young lads and girls that used to wear the hoods up, going skating, were classed as being disruptive, and it was classed as antisocial behaviour, and and
but
they
we
tried.
don't class all of them the same.
What they did was they created a space where people could go and play and do things, and then we didn't have the issues that they felt were happening. I would just argue there were people walking around on the street and you were young kids playing or whatever.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they created an alternative.
Yep.
And what we're finding here is that we're not even having an alternative created. I mean, in my eyes, I think the alternative is nice as an option. So if there's a car park put on with the right facilities, that's a great option for people. That is currently happening in Bristol at the moment.
Yeah,
it's another story, but it's hit the headlines recently where they've put on.
They're gonna create a space for them.
They've put on a space for them.
They're
Basically,
gonna tax them, but
it's already there. They've created the space for them to park on. And there's facilities there to use, and there's a whole other load of stuff that goes with that. But that's great as an option, as long as it remains an option. But to me, if you are creating that and going, you can only go here, again, you are still in that position where you are discriminating, because, you're still kind of saying, you can't park in this place, you can only park in that. If you're saying you can park there, but you can't sleep there, but you can park in this car park and you can sleep there, that's different, isn't it?
You can't park there, mate.
But to say that you can't kind of park up on the street or whatever when you want to. Anyway, look, I know it's so long-winded is this, and it's so frustrating.
It is, and that's
but
the
that's
thing.
what it comes down to, is frustration.
Yeah, it is frustrating because, but it is just, we're probably not going to do another video on this now. Like, I think we've made our point, haven't we, about
we
these
don't want to
signs.
be a ranty, although you lot seem to like.
Yeah, you
our
love
ranting,
it. Like, go on,
you?
go on, keep ranting. But no, it's sometimes, when we're doing these topics, you can't always be laughing and joking because it's quite a serious topic, and it's.
No laughing.
I'm not going to laugh.
Don't you laugh?
I won't.
Don't you dare.
But it is just frustrating, and I wanted to come. Well, we both wanted to come on and just basically say to you that if you're registered as a van, that says Motor Caravan, and you make your own mind up about that.
We wanted to highlight these things about the fact that it has no price on it.
They've wasted
so you
the
don't
time.
know what you're going to be paying for. So therefore, you've got this TRO kind of, what do you call it?
I don't even know what one is.
What
to be
would you
honest.
call? No, what would you call it? This you've got like an an escape route from it, if you like. You've got an argument against it. So your arguments against it, certainly in Lytham St Anne's, is that there is no price attached with it. There doesn't appear to be any cameras in Lytham St Anne's, so obviously it's whether a parking enforcement person comes up or not. If a parking enforcement person comes up and you're underneath one of those signs, you can argue it, because you can say, I am a van on my V5. I'm not allowed to be classed as a motor caravan because I don't have a fixed table, or because I don't have this criteria, I don't have a high roof, whatever it is.
Yeah,
I don't
Google that as well. It's worth Googling what the criteria
is. Have the list
is.
and say, I do not meet the criteria by the DVLA to be classed as that, so therefore I am not. So have all that information.
I'm tired.
Out
if you
with
need to say you're tired, say you're tired.
Yeah, saying that if you're tired and you need to rest. If you've got a disability and you need to rest. So we're kind of giving you these things as to these are things that you can bring up, in a very polite way with somebody that might come and try and put a ticket on your vehicle. Or if you end up getting a ticket put on your vehicle or through the post, it's a means in which you can try and argue that.
Yeah, appeal it.
Appeal it, that's it, yeah. But we cannot say whether that would work or wouldn't work. We can't say whether you would or wouldn't get fined. We're not encouraging anybody to do anything that they're going to get in trouble for. At all. Our race, we're not encouraging that to happen.
Don't stand up to these signs unless you want to.
Yeah. Unless that's your choice.
That's nothing to do with me. Don't be going saying
Romany pirates said.
No, because they're going to knock on the door and they'll be like, "Oh, Reese told me to tell you that I'm tired."
I've got 4,000 people queued up outside van saying you owe us 50 quid. No, so we are all we're doing is presenting you with what we've found out. You will probably be able to do much better research and find out much more information, because to be honest, it really does our head in even looking it up, because we can't be bothered with this type of negativity.
But the one thing to look up is
looking it up.
The criteria of your van. Check out on your own DVLA registration forms what your particular camper van or van is. If you're going to buy a camper van, check out
on the V5
on the V5. Is it a camper van? Is it a motorhome? Is it a motor caravan?
And then have the details of the criteria from the DVLA and what you do not meet.
Yes.
So, for example, with us, we do not meet the 6-foot bed because our bed is slightly shorter.
We don't meet the high roof.
We don't meet the high roof.
And we haven't got a fixed table.
And we don't have a proper table. We just got a plank of wood.
I just eat my dinner on my knee, don't I? Don't I, Emma?
So yeah, look.
That's it. We're rambling.
Because at least you can sit there, then, can't you? You can go, I don't meet the criteria because of X, Y, and Z, and you know that you look like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, what happens when you park up under these yellow signs?
No.
Go back and have a look on Tuesday and find out. You ruined it. But go back and have a look, watch Tuesdays and see what does happen. Oh, what happened to us at least anyway.
Yeah, and then when you've watched that, watch Hell on Earth when they park the limo in Scarborough. It's hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
It's well worth
I need to watch that tonight.
I love them guys, they're great. So yeah,
What's coming up? What's
coming up? A few things. We're going to be doing that. So we want to do a video. I don't know whether it'll be Tuesdays or not yet, but we want to do a video of how to live mortgage-free, rent-free in a city.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Can it be done? Can you live in a van in a city for free and go to work?
We've got so many things that are coming up, and this is why we need you to hit the subscribe button. So
yeah, please subscribe.
You're forgetting to subscribe.
Everyone's forgetting.
Hit that subscribe button. Some people have mentioned to us, some friends of ours that are a little bit older, said, well, I can't subscribe, it doesn't let me, and that's because they didn't have an account set with YouTube.
It's free.
Create an email account, set yourself an account with YouTube. It's beneficial for you because you get a notification then if you hit the notification bell as to what's coming up next.
It helps us as a channel. Obviously, we're only a reasonably small channel. It helps push our channel out and get our freedom
if
message.
If you're supporting us, one of those that have supported us from the beginning, and new people that are joining us, and you want to push us out there, I think we deserve to be a massive channel.
We work hard.
We're not really bothered about how big we get. What we're bothered about is reaching more people.
Yeah.
The more people that we reach and talk to, the more we can kind of create this better community where we all come together and we're usually positive.
For me, it might be that one person that's never heard that you can live in a van. As daft as that sounds, right? There's a lot of people out there, I promise you this, that have never even heard of van life. But they might be really upset paying £1,000 a month to live in a little flat, you know, paying rent, really, really struggling or whatever. And they might not know that there's an alternative out there. And that's one of my biggest passions, is that, to say to people, there is an alternative, to present that alternative, and then it's up to that
And we've not against people who live in houses and
no,
like to do things
all.
traditionally, but if you want, just knowing about the
there's
alternative.
that option, that's
so
my
share us with friends, hit the hype button, push us forwards, do all that.
And subscribe
all your own work, you know your own work, it's massive.
You're going to need custard creams after that
Subscribe,
as well.
like, hit the hype, share, comment, 5 things. Don't forget to do all that.
So yeah, we will see you on Tuesday and on future vlogs for lots and lots and lots of things.
See you on Tuesday. Write your own story.
Write your own story. Look.
And let us know as well. Let us know if you've been parked up and what happened.
I'm going to do, you ruined that then. I'm going to put that into camera.
Oh, go on, do it now. Yeah, go on.
See you Tuesday at 8 o'clock.